hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on multiple meaning words. And before we start with our lesson on multiple meaning words, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 3, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of multiple meaning words. All right. So multiple meaning words, right? Our chapter is multiple meaning words. Our subject is English language arts, grade 3. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of multiple meaning words, it is multiple meaning words with pictures, which definition matches the sentence, and which sentence matches the definition. So that is going to be our lessons for today. All right. So multiple meaning words, right? So some of the words have more than one meaning, and that is why they call it multiple meaning words, right? It's like they have more than one, let's say, more than one meaning or multiple meanings, like we would call it, right? So, like we say, some words they have more than one meaning, and sometimes the different meanings they even have sound. They even sound different, right? So as much as they have different meaning, but sometimes different meanings even have different, they even sound different, sorry. And these words, like we know the different multiple meaning words, or words with more than one meaning, we call them multiple meaning words, or another word for multiple meaning words we will call homographs. So basically, homographs is another word for multiple meaning words or vice versa. And it's basically words with more than one meaning. And like we said, some words that have more than one meaning. That is why you'll find a word that basically, let's say, for example, park, right? If you look at a word park can either mean that you are parking your car is coming to a standstill. Um, when you are going either to the shops and now you're parking your car somewhere, or park can be a play area, right? Um, so there's like different meanings to a specific word, and that is what we mean when we say it is multiple meaning words. It's where words have more than one meaning, right? And we're going to find out more about the different multiple meaning words. We're even going to find out which definitions matches different sentences and also how different sentences will match a definition. All right, so like I said earlier, some words that have more than one meaning, and we call that multiple meaning words, or another word for that is homographs, right? And if we look at an example of homographs, or let's look at an example of multiple meaning words. All right, then it is the light. So the light hurts my eyes. And then we have another meaning that says feathers are very light. So which means that if we look at these two words, right, or let's say one word, but there's got two different meanings to it, which is light. The very first meaning is to do with like when you're switching on and off of the light, whether it can be a lamp or the light in the house, right? So that light is hurting somebody's eyes. And then we have another meaning which says feathers are very light, which means that this is not to do with weight, right? So which means that it's these are two different words, which is light and light, or let's say the same word, but the meanings are totally different. So it is spelled the same, but the meanings are different. Because this one means it's to do with weight, right? Meaning it's light weighted, it's very light because a feather, there's basically no weight or no, yeah, to a feather. And then this is to do with the light, like a light switch that you switch on and off, right? So especially if it's dark, if you switch on the light, of course it's going to light up a place and it's going to be a bit bright. And then we said sometimes these different meanings even have, they even sound different. So these different meanings, they even sound different. For example, the actress leaned over and took a bow. Yes, it's like homophones. So the actors, they leaned over and took a bow. And in the sentence, right, if we look at the word bow, bow rhymes with how, right? So this bow rhymes with how. So it's like saying the actors came, like when they say leaned over and took a bow, it's like almost like you're so in a, it's like in a bending formation, right? To almost like thank everybody for watching the show, right? So that is when you are bowing. And then if you look at another example, it says the girl tied a bow in her hair. A bow in her hair. And if you look at both of these words, right? That is the word. But the first word you spell like how, for like it's basically bow spelled like how. And the second word is bow, but it's spelled like, for example, low, right? So these two words are both the same, it's spelled the same, but the sound is different, right? So that is how it is with multiple meaning words. It's the word is spelled the same, but the meanings are different. The word is also spelled the same, but they even have different sounds, or they sound different. And the girl tied a bow in her hair, right? And that is like taking a ribbon and then making a cute little bow. So these are what we call multiple meaning words. And another word for multiple meaning words is called homographs. All right. And if we look at, if I'm not thinking of homophones, right? So it's like you were saying, it's the same like homophones. So yes, it is almost the same as homophones because homophones are words that sounds the same, but they have different meaning or spelling. They have different spelling also, right? Whereas with homophones, there are words that sound the same, but they're different in the meanings, or let's say they're different in meaning or spelling sometimes. So with homophones, if you look at homophones, right, just to clarify also to bring about the difference, homophones, right, it is a word that let's say that has the same sound, like it sounds the same to another word. And then we have homophones, right? Sometimes they sound the same, sometimes they don't have sound the same, and but they have the same spelling, right? They do spell the same. So there is quite like a not even much of a difference between, let's say, homophones and homographs. I think it's mainly just to do with the sounding the same. And we are doing our tutorial lesson on A plus students.ca. We are doing our tutorial lesson on A plus students.ca. So during the course of this lesson, we are going to A plus students.ca and we are going to do our test. All right, this picture is a bit blur, but if we look at these pictures, right, these are multiple meaning words. It's like saying fly and fly, right? It's the same word, but they have different meaning. Because this fly is irritating, buzzing, is it insect or something? And then fly is like either when you're in an airplane, a glider, so you're flying, right? Then we have ring. The first ring is like either a telephone or a cell phone ringing, like when somebody calls you on the phone. And then another ring is usually given to somebody either when you're about to get married or a proposal or as a promise ring or something. And then we have palm, right? Then palm, it's either the palm of your hand or palm tree, but both basically means palm. Then wave, right? As you can see, the words are the same. Wave. The first wave is like either when you're waving somebody, like you lift, raising your arm, and you're either greeting, saying hi or saying goodbye. So now you're waving, or the waves in the ocean. So these are just a few examples of multiple meaning words, right? It's words that basically are spelled the same, but they have more than one meaning. The meanings are different. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we're going to our first lesson, which is multiple meaning with pictures. All right, so we said that words or some of the words have more than one meaning, right? And we made an example of the light hurts my eyes, as well as feathers are very light, right? So the word light, it is spelled the same, but the meanings are different. So the meanings are different. And then we also have a case where sometimes the different meanings, they have different meanings, and even the sound is different, right? So sometimes the different meanings even sound different, like bow and bow. So as much as it's spelled the same, right? Like BOW, it's spelled the same, but the sound is different. The sound is different as well as the meaning is different. And we said words with more than one meaning, we call them multiple meaning words, or we call them homographs. Homographs are words that are spelled the same, but the meanings are different, as well as the sound can be different. All right, so if we look at these two pictures, right? The first picture, it's where somebody, or let's say two people, are taking hands, right? It's hands or arms that you can see. And then we have a milkshake, which means that if we look at these two pictures, right? And we look at one specific word which matches both of these pictures, and then we can say the first one is like saying it's a handshake. And this one over here is a milkshake, right? Which means that both of them is actually, we call it shake. Because here they are shaking hands, and this is basically a milkshake. Sometimes they don't even call it a milkshake, they just say, they just coming to order, for example, a shake. All right, if we look at the next picture, what is, it says type the word that fits both of these pictures. So look at the first picture. We have a boy that is crying. And then here we have a paper, and what is happening with the paper. So we need to find the word that is basically same spelling as what it means. Okay, the meanings are going to be different, but same spelling to what both of these pictures shows. So if we look at this first picture, what do we see over there? This little blue drop of water that comes out of our eyes when we cry. So what do we call that? Like when you're about to cry, then they say you have what in your eyes. So what is that word? Yes. So basically it is called a tear, right? It's like tears in the eyes. But now if you look at the next page, right? So yeah, this person is trying to tear up the page, right? Which means that if we look at the word, both of these words are spelled the same, which is T-E-A-R. T-E-A-R, right? We call that, it's like tear, right? So the first picture, it's like where the person has got tears in the person's eyes. And then the second picture, right? It's like where you're pulling a page apart, and we call that, it's like you're tearing it up, right? So you tear a page. The, let's say the past of that word is to, you tore a page. And then we have tear. So tear and tear, as you can even hear by the sound of these two words, if you hear the sound of these two words, tear and te, right? They're sounding different. However, the spelling of the word is the same. Yeah, so well done. It's tear and te. So both tear as well as te, right? The spelling of the word is the same, but they are sounding different. Right? So do we understand now when it comes to homographs, right? Homographs is um with it's where the spelling is the same, the words are spelled the same, the meaning is different, as well as sometimes you'll find the sound of the word to be different. Because if we look at the word te and we look at the word tear, right, it is spelled the same, but it sounds different. All right. And then we have let's go to the last one. Yeah, they're showing a puppy, right? And then they're also showing a form of transport. I'm going to call it the form of transport, right? So, what form of transport is this that you'll find on the tracks or you'll find on the rails? Yes. So, which means that this over here, this form of transport, we call it a train, right? So, it's a train. And if we look at the puppy, right? If you are teaching a puppy how to sit and how to do certain things and how to do tricks, then what do we call that? We also call it training, right? Which means that you are training your puppy to sit, you're training your puppy to do his or her business outside, you're training your puppy to do a lot of different things. And then here we have this moving transport that you find on the tracks, and we call it a train. So once again, these are homographs. It is the word is spelled the same, but the sound as well as the sound as well as the meaning is different. All right, so now let's go to our test. That is correct. You can train a dog, and the vehicle is called a train. So well done. That is so true. That is why I didn't want to say the word specifically, the vehicle's name, because I didn't want to give away the name as such. All right, let's go to our test. All right, if we look at these two pictures, right, we need to type the word that fits both of these pictures. Here we have an object, right, that we usually switch on when it's very hot. and it cools us down. There's like wind that comes through it or out of it. And then we have somebody who is supporting a specific team. So what do we call these two pictures? Do we call it a fan or do we call it a goal? Is it a fan or a goal? That that is correct. So if we look at these two pictures, right? This one fan is to the one object, right? It is to cool you down. Wind is coming out, right? And the second picture is also a fan, right? It's like PK says, it's like when you're a fan of a specific celebrity, like maybe Taylor Swift or Cardi B or somebody, right? So when you're a fan of, let's say, either a celebrity or you're a fan of maybe a football team, right? Or a basketball team. So both of these words are fan. We call them a fan. But as we can see, the meaning of these two words are different, right? But the spelling is the same. And this time around, it actually sounds the same. So fan is correct. When you're a fan of Taylor Swift or a fan to cool you down. So well done, guys. So fan is correct. All right, if we look at both of these pictures, right? Is it fly or is it parrot? All right, so if we look at both of these pictures, right? A word that basically fits both of these pictures, yes, we can say it is fly, right? So one is a irritating insect that is flying, like maybe like a fly. And the second one is a bird that flies. So both of them we call fly, right? And both of them fly. So fly. So well done. Thank you. We get it. It's fly. Thank you. So fly it is, right? So both of them they are fly and also both of them can fly. All right, let's look at these ones. If we look at the first one, it looks like it is maybe, winter season. And the second one is when somebody is sick in bed, right? So if we look at both of these picture, are both of them cold or are both of them winter? All right. So if we look at both of these pictures, right? That is correct. When we look at both of these picture, the first picture, it basically shows maybe it's during winter time, it's maybe snowing, so it is very cold outside, right? So this person is freezing, this person is getting cold. And then the second picture, it basically shows that this person is sick. And another word for when somebody is sick, it's like when they'll basically say that I have a cold, right? So well done. Cold is correct. All right, so now we're going to the next lesson, which, oh, let's say, yeah, lesson which says which definition matches the sentence. So now we need to find the definition that matches the sentence. What does well mean in the sentence? Well, WELL. Well. It says the farmer used a bucket and drew water from a deep well. And here's two meanings of the word well, right? The first meaning is of well, it's a noun and it says it's a deep hole in the ground that holds water. And the second meaning of the word well is an adverb. It means in a good way. So if we look at the meaning, or if you look at the definition of the word in the sentence, it says the farmer used a bucket and drew water from the deep well. Then which sentence, or let's say which definition matches that sentence? Is it the first definition, which is a noun, or the second definition, which is an adverb that matches the sentence? All right, so if we look at once again at the sentence, right? The sentence is the farmer used a bucket and drew water from the deep well, right? So here we have our two meanings. The first meaning says well. It is a deep hole in the ground that holds water. Or well, the second meaning, which is in a good way. Like I'm doing well. Thank you. So if we were to match the sentence with the definition, then we would say that the sentence, it means it is a well, which is a deep hole in the ground that holds water, right? Because here it says the farmer used a bucket and drew water from the deep well, meaning that a well is a hole in the ground. So you need to lower buckets, right, deep in this well, and then you can draw water from that. So that is a well. So which means that the sentence well matches the first definition, which is a deep hole in the ground that holds water. So number one is correct. Now, if we look at the next sentence, right, it says, the weatherman said that there will be strong wind tomorrow. We now need to match that word wind within that sentence to the correct definition, right? And the definition over here says the first definition, wind, which is a verb, it's an action. It is to wrap something like string or rope around something else. Or wind, which is a noun, it is air that is moving. So if we look at the sentence that says the weatherman said that there will be strong wind tomorrow, is it the first definition or is it the second definition? I'm going to read the sentence again. The sentence says, the weatherman, right? It's weather, said that there will be strong wind tomorrow, right? Strong wind, meaning to do with the weather. It is maybe either winter time or fall, and the wind is blowing, right? So now if we look at the two definitions, the first definition says wind, right? It is to wrap something like string or rope around something else. Or the second definition is wind, which is air that is moving or air that is blowing. So which definition, definition one or definition two, matches the weatherman said that there will be a strong wind tomorrow? So if we look at our, or if we choose the correct definition, then we will match the second definition, which is wind. It is air that is moving, right? Because remember, like the way the wind is blowing, it is basically just air that is moving. It's either moving in a very fast pace, depending on, of course, the weatherman, right? Or what the weather or whatever they can basically predict. So sometimes we'll have, strong air that is blowing around or moving around, or you won't even have any air that is moving around, because the first definition, to wrap something like string or rope, that is something different, right? So we will go with the second one, which is wind. It's a noun that is moving, air that is moving. Now, if we look at the next one, what does bull mean in the sentence bull? It says, a duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water. So a duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water. Now we have two definitions. The first definition, which is also a noun, says how much you need to pay. It's like when you're going to a restaurant, you're going to McDonald's, you're going to Starbucks, and they give you your bill. They tell you, okay, this is your bill, you need to pay so much. Or the second definition is a noun, and it's the hard part of the duck's mouth. So which one is the correct one? How much you need to pay, or the hard part of the duck's mouth? And it says a duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water. So which definition one or definition two, matches the sentence? And if we match the definition with the correct sentence, and then we will match the second one, which is bill, the hard part of the duck's mouth, because it says the duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water, meaning that the duck uses that hard part of its mouth to gather food in the water. Because the first word bill is basically when you're getting the check at the restaurant and you need to pay money, right, for the food or whatever that you ate. All right, now we're going to our test. What does train mean in the following sentence? It says Laura will train her dog, Astro, not to beg for food. So Laura will train her dog, Astro, not to beg for food. So train, is it to teach to do something, or train a line of railroad on a track pulled by an engine? Is it the vehicle which you can pull by an engine, or to teach to do something? And if we look at the correct definition, we will go with the first definition, which is to teach to do something. You're training your dog to do something, or let's say not to beg for food. The second one says, what does close mean in the sentence? I always close my windows before I go to bed. Right? And now we need to find the definition. We need to match the definition with that sentence. Close, it's a verb to shut something like a door or a box, or close, an adjective which is not far away. It is close by. That is what the second one means. So what does close, when you say you are closing your window, what does it mean? Is it the first meaning, to shut something, or the second meaning, not far away? And if we choose the correct one, we will choose the first one, right? Because it says, I always close my window before I go to bed, which means that it is to shut something like a door or a box or a window, right? All right. So that is now the end of our lesson on multiple meaning words. We see that another word for multiple meaning words is called homographs. And multiple meaning words or homographs are basically words that are spelled the same, but the meanings are different, as well as sometimes even the sound of these words are different, right? So this is now the end of our lesson. Grade 3, thank you very much for joining our class. Um, thank you for interacting, and I really hope that you're going to have an amazing weekend further. So till next time, goodbye.